Hello and welcome back to Inquisitor Martyr. Last time we ran some random missions, and we're back to doing that because it's fun. Actually, yeah, we'll let that seasonal mission build up a little more. Which actually we can check right here. Okay, so it's only level 30. We're fine. Eldari, Rebel Guard, 2 Dark Eldar Purges, Nurgle. We'll actually do Archaeotech Shard, because I need some of those. I have slots that need filling, and I don't have enough spots for Psalm code combos, so I'm just gonna put random Garbo in. So I am in a state of both excitement and not excitement. Paizo, guys behind Pathfinder and StarFinder, announced they're doing StarFinder 2nd Edition. Which, you know, cool. I like StarFinder. I think it's a cool system. I don't like the weapon progression. I think it's a little clunky. Mostly because you will get like a laser pistol. And if it's a level 2, it is discernibly worse than a level 5. So the game's kind of forcing you to continually upgrade gear, which feels a little annoying at times. Especially when, if you really wanted to do upgrades, you could do like Star Wars Saga Edition did, where they introduced the Tech Specialist feat, which allowed you to put like a +1 on something or do little boosts, or the other thing you could do was get templates. So you could get like a Rakatan weapon from the Rakata, their empire, from before the Old Republic stuff. But so that'd be an option, instead of just being like, yeah, just dumpster your old gun and buy a new identical gun that's stat better. But like I said, it's 2nd edition. So it's like, okay, cool. I like new editions. It always improves things, fixes problems. Who doesn't like games getting better? Problem I have is it's gonna use, most likely, because StarFinder 1 used Pathfinder's system. So you can safely assume that's going to be what happens again. I don't like Pathfinder 2E's system. It doesn't sit well for me as a DM, part because some of the ways that attacks and stuff are described, at least to me, it kind of comes off as almost like D&D 4th edition, and I thought 4th edition's combat was really clunky. The stat breakdowns for characters, you didn't really get to modify them. It was just like, yeah, here is character. And if you want to do anything else, you better hope and pray you find a book with a similar creature that you can then use. But they kind of do the same thing, because in old Pathfinder 1st edition and StarFinder, if you looked at a monster, let's say you look at their health, you would get their HP, then their hit dice, and any bonus modifiers to their health. Constitution score, anything else like that. That was fine. As a DM, it's great, because then when it comes to scaling, I instantly know what's getting changed. If I put a point into... If I put an extra hit dice and that gives it another stat point somewhere, and I put it into Constitution, I know that in there how the breakdown is. I know if I need to add something. But the new version, it's just, oh, this monster has 150 hit points. How does the breakdown work? Dunno, don't ask. And that kind of sucks. It makes DMing very difficult. And similar thing with actual stats. instead of being told, okay, this creature has 18 strength, that is I think that's a +4 to the roll, or it's a +3, one of the two. It's a bonus to your strength related skills. You look at it, cool. Now it's just, yeah, +4. What number are they at? Does an extra strength point put me into +5? Am I still at +4? It's minor things, but it's a lot of... The best way my friend described it is Pathfinder is crunchy. There's a lot of numbers, a lot of stuff, just like 3.5 and 3.0 for D&D. But removing that crunch, it's good for a player who doesn't know what they're looking at. For players who do know what they're looking at, it sucks, because you're stripping away parts you might need. Also, that mission went stupidly fast. Ooh, Archaeotech Sentinel armor. Please. Let's go. Cool armor. I can spawn a turret, chance to trigger a Fabricatus scatter field. Yeah, sure, what the hell, why not? Don't care about the melee weapons, they're irrelevant. But otherwise, pretty cool find. We will toss more damage, and now we get another perk. Yeah, adaptive efficiency, that's what we need. Passives. Back into critical hit chance. And actually, since we have a moment, let's look at our Season of Judgment. What do we gotta do for this first tier? Enhance an item, get Artificer gear, collect 100 Cortex fragments, murk 1,000 guys with Judgment stuff, use a consumable buff, modify my appearance, and modify my inoculator. That's all doable. Very doable. We'll actually chew up some of this garbage gear that we don't need. Let's jump back into a random mission, because that was like a 5-minute run. Yeah, we'll fight the Eldar. Can't keep dragging my feet and avoiding it. But back to StarFinder, it worries me, the chance of it being bad, because I like it, and I worry that this newer system Paizo's adopted isn't going to be as useful. Especially because I've mentioned it before, but as a DM, I need a lot of tools. That's the reason, as much as I love 5th edition for D&D, because, for instance, one of my best friends, he got his wife into playing D&D, and 5th edition was great for that, because it was really easy for her to understand, and now if we really wanted to, we could get her to play more in-depth games. I know I'm trying to get a group together for Star Wars Saga Edition, because, I mean, come on, I want to play. I love Star Wars too much to let Disney screw it up for me, even though there are times where it's damn tough. But it's good for that. But as a DM, when I'm trying to make monsters, I feel like I'm pulling teeth. I will say this to the end of days, it's terrible, because if you played 3.5 and 3.0, you knew if you wanted to make a monster, in the back of the monster manual there were templates. And I believe in the front too, because it'd be like, oh, if it's this size, here's a rough stat breakdown for a generic monster of this size. Then you'd sit down and go, okay, what type? Because aberrations had a different health amount than magical beasts. Everybody had different hit dice. I always remember, because I use a lot of undead, undead were 1d12. And it made sense, because, yeah, a zombie is going to be more resilient, even a one-hit dice zombie, than a one-hit dice commoner. Because the commoner still has blood and squishy bits that can be hurt by getting bonked or stabbed. A zombie is a zombie. You can squish all the squishy bits you want on them. They don't care. They don't need those squishy bits to function. But now, in 5th edition, they're just like, yeah, so it's all scaling on size. So, like, the largest size gets d20s, and it just goes down from there. And I'm sitting here looking at going, why? How does this work that you can have, like, a giant skeleton that's huge? I believe that would be like a, what? Hill giant? No, hill giants I think are large. Mountain giants, I believe, are huge. I can't remember if fire giants are, but, you know, there's some huge options. It'd be like saying a skeleton of that, keep in mind just a normal skeleton, some good old skelly boys, have the same health and durability as an adamantine golem. How does that work? Adamantine, within lore, is the strongest material. Unless you make some other materials. But so, why would they be the same? Now, yes, you can argue damage reduction and all that other stuff coming into play, but at least in 5th edition, they don't like to touch damage reduction. Even the resistances, I don't like the resistance system 5th edition has. Thankfully, I believe StarFinder and Pathfinder 2nd edition, they don't do that super boiled down, you resist or you don't kind of deal. Because it's just too simplistic. Oh, if you resist, you just automatically take half damage. I believe I mentioned it, but you don't realize how big a difference that is until you're in higher levels. Because if you're taking 1d4 fire damage, and on a hit, you take half damage. Oh no, at max, your 4 damage has been reduced to 2. But if you have a, let's say a 20 damage fireball, going from 20 to 10, even though it's proportionally the same, feels a lot worse. Because that's a higher level spell, that's a lot more being put into getting gimped. And it sucks. Because then you're sitting here going, well, screw this spell. I just got hoed out of like a 3rd or 4th level spell when I should have just held off. And admittedly, 5th edition's feats are just god-awful. 3.5 isn't, as much as I sing the praises, it didn't have feats that were good. Like, I love Libris Mortis, the Book of Undead, but damn, there were some absolutely butt-cheek feats. Corpse Crafter? Cool. you can trick out your undead. Should it have been a feat? Hell no. If you are spending a feat to give your zombies like +4 turn resist, that is wasteful. At that point, you spend the gold and you make, I think it's like the Dark Mask or something. It essentially created an Unhallowed effect, or a Desecrate effect in an area. You just slap a couple of those on like tougher zombies to make them kind of commanders, or you make the, I think it's Dark Steel or Shade Steel golems that have a Desecrate effect from Monster Manual 3, I believe. But you just do that, because a feat you can use on way better stuff. But at least it was an option. I hope StarFinder, and honestly Pathfinder 2E, they kind of do like a 2.5 and fix some of the oversimplification of things. I do hope for StarFinder they really do get rid of that gear progression. It gets really bad. Like, if you look at some of the gear, there's pieces that are like, oh yeah, you get like +20 to your armor class for wearing this. That is where I think the crunchiness kind of gets out of hand. It's like, I don't need this. Once again, 5th edition did it great, where if you're sitting on like a 20 AC, that's pretty solid. You're not too worried. Plus, it really kind of takes away like the weight of attacks when it's like, oh yeah, you're gonna roll 1d20 and then add +32 to your attack. You're like, well, the hell am I even rolling for? It feels like I'm just rolling to make sure I don't roll a 1. Short of that, unless it's a equally resilient enemy or someone who's your DM just really, like if your DM really hates you and they're like, okay, we're just gonna pimp out this one enemy to be just the turbo tank. But like short of that, you're probably hitting. I have 100... What is this? Emperor's Judgment. Slaying enemies marked by your bolts of judgment grants +0.2 bonus damage and +0.1 supreme movement speed. Oh, that's cool. That's why I'm zooming. Huh. Learn something new every day. Let's count. 1 pop-up. 2 pop-ups. 3... We'll count this as the 3rd. The other one's just kind of a hey. 4. Only 4. Alright. I think that's kind of where we're capping out, is at 4. Focus, stay while shouting. Don't really care. That's my old inoculator. I got really excited for a second. See, since I'm building a lot towards kind of passively building to get Thunderbolt of Authority, that's useful, but I think I already said no to this. But Fear on hit. But this does give me bonus against champions, and I kind of need that. Okay, not gonna sit here and fight myself over it. Signums. Damage bonus, not bad. Damage bonus for salvo, fear on hit. But it's really hard to beat this level 2 Signum. Because damage bonus for armor piercing, shield piercing, and armor breaking. I mean, this is just a flat 5 for everything. Yeah, screw it. Yeah, that's about it. Let's get our passives, another 2 critical hit points here. And that is all for now. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit the like button, it helps out the channel a lot. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.